Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to our webinar on leveraging Excel to manage Revit projects using Spreadsheet XL and Spreadsheet Link. My name is David Geer. I'm a Senior Technical Specialist with ATG USA. And today what I'd like to do is cover our main objective is to learn how Schedule XL and Spreadsheet Link inside of the BIM Manager Suite can help you save time by bridging the gap between Revit and Excel. We're going to discuss reasons you may want to link Excel spreadsheets into your model, learn what Schedule XL is and what it can do, learn how Schedule XL user interface works, use Schedule XL to create and manage schedules linked to Excel spreadsheets, and use Schedule Link to create unique schedules in Revit. And with that, let's go ahead and bridge the gap. So I've got my Revit project open here, and what I want to do is be able to leverage all these Excel files that we may have, or I may need to have my project team, because they're very familiar with Excel, but they're not so much familiar with Revit, or I don't have enough Revit seats, but I definitely have enough Excel seats, and maybe I can help me leverage that information and push it out and push it back into Revit. So one of the first things I want to do is I want to come over here to my room schedule here, and in here I've gone in and at least placed rooms on the floors, and I'm going to change my filtering here because it's bothering me, but I've placed at least rooms on all my floors from the first floor to the second floor. I have not went in and placed all my rooms on the remaining floors. So one of the things I'm going to do to kind of do this real quick here is I'm going to go to my second floor here, and I'm going to grab all these room elements. And I'm going to copy those to the clipboard, and then I'm going to tell it to paste to the remaining floors. Give that a minute here, and then I'm going to go to that particular floor, at least one of them here. I'm going to come in and tag all these rooms just so that I can see, and it went ahead and auto incremented. Now you say that's great and all. Now I got to come in here and renumber these because maybe I want them based on the floor. Well, what I'm going to do is come over to my CTC tools, and I'm going to come over here to the Spreadsheet Link. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to, one, pull data out of Revit and then take it into an Excel file format so that I can manipulate and change data. And so what I want to do here is I'm going to scroll up and down here. So here's all the available categories that Revit gives me to change data in. I can either do it by categories, I can do it by specific types, or I actually have in here schedules, right? So we saw earlier, we had our room schedules. And I'm going to come over here and bring that over. And what it's going to do is all the elements that I had created in that schedule, it's going to pull those property parameters over. So I could very well easily just come over here, and I now have an Excel spreadsheet type element over here, and I can change this, and I'm going to leave this little symbol right here and say 300. And then just like in Excel, I can come over here and copy these all the way down, and so that it auto increments those out. That's fine and great. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply to the active worksheet. Yes, I want to bring it to that project. It's telling me it has some duplicate values. That's fine. I'm going to exit out of this just for a minute, just so you can see that it actually went in here and changed all my floors to that particular element. I'm going to come back into my Schedule XL. I'm going to come back and grab our schedule that we just worked on. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to save this out to an Excel file. And I'm going to call it room schedule. I've been playing with it, so I already have that named. Yes, please overwrite those definitions. And my Excel moved over to my second screen, so let me bring it back. So now I'm truly in Excel. I am devoid of Revit at this point. So if I've got a project team that hey, I need help with my room schedules, maybe some room finishes, things of that nature, let me come in to Excel now and use those same tools in Excel that we all know and love. And so I could sit here and go on and on and on and on and on. And while I'm over here in Revit, while my project member is going over there, I'm going to go ahead and save. I'm going to come over here and open. Actually, take that back. I'm going to come back. So I'm going to say I'm over here working and doing some things in Revit while my project team members are coming in. And they say, hey, Dave, I have completed the Excel spreadsheet. I need you to go ahead and update it. So I'm going to come over here to Spreadsheet link. I'm going to go open that Excel spreadsheet that my team members have been working on, bring that back in, and then now I'm going to go apply that active to our project. It's going to tell me that it's updated and not changed any of the others. And so now if I go back to my project schedule or our room schedule here, you'll see it went in and updated all the ones that my team members have worked on. So I say, okay, well, you didn't finish the other floors. That's fine. I don't think you want to sit here and watch me do all these floors. Hopefully you get the power behind being able to do the rooms in that area. One of the other items I really like about Schedule Excel is to be able to take some elements that are in Revit. So if I come in here and I look at this wall, and this wall style says it's a 1 hour, and I go edit its type, and I see that the fire rating has a 1 hour mark, right? And then if I look at this door has a fire rating in its instance parameters, but it is not populated. Well, I could manually go in and change all those doors. I could maybe go in and do a door schedule and have all those doors come in and say, hey, you're this particular fire rating, right? Well, with the CTC tools in Schedule Spreadsheet link, I can literally come in here now and say, I'm going to come over here and grab the walls. And it's going to come through and read all the walls in my project right now. So it may take a minute or two depending on the size of your project. And I'm going to come over here and I want to pull out from that the fire rating. So, excuse me. Now what I want to do is I want to come over and grab the doors. And out of the doors, I want to come in and pull, and if you notice in the other part of the dialog box here, it's creating Excel's type tabs and pulling that information over. Well, one, hopefully I've grabbed the right fire rating this time, since there's a couple of them in here, and I definitely want to know the host ID. Now, it really doesn't know what to do here because I need to give it an Excel function to go tell it to go read the walls and tell it to populate the doors. So with that, instead of me, I'm going to come over here, and I've already done this. So it's an if error, index the walls, say, hey, go read the walls tab and go read column C out of the walls, go match it to, in this case, I think I need to tell it to be column C4 instead of D4, walls. And now one thing I need to do is I need to tell it to come over here and do a calculation formula in here. And we start scrolling down through here. One. Did I grab the right formula? All right. Well, in that case, I'm definitely going to say walls. Come over here to walls. Yeah, I hear you. Bear with me for just 1 second. I did this earlier today and it worked like a charm. And you know, now you get into the webinar and it doesn't want to work very well. Move the host ID and let's go. Fire rating. Unless I forgot to, unless I grabbed the wrong fire rating. All right, let's come over here and grab. Well, let me go load my one I worked on earlier. Since my formulas are not wanting to work for some reason. So I went in and did this earlier, and so what you saw me do was I was able to save out some settings to a file, and then what that allows me to do is load those settings back in so that I read that information out of the walls and out of the doors and say, hey, go read the formula in here, go read the information from the previous tab, and go ahead and match it. Well, what I can do now is apply that to the active project. And then now if I go look at my doors, now based on the wall fire rating, it's going to go in and assign the door rating to it. And so that's going to save me a lot of time, being able to pull that information from the walls to the doors. Now, speaking of being able to pull things from one another, is I can come in and load from a file. So if I want to do some plumbing fixture calculations, right, based on our IBC, right, or our local code enforcements, right, what do we need to do to achieve this? Well, I can take in an Excel file that I've done and tell it to go pull out the room data, tell it to pull the occupancy information, tell it to pull the levels, and go ahead and populate these. Now you're going to see some errors on the different tabs because I ran out of time to fix my Excel spreadsheet to start reading the information in the other tabs. But what that allows me to do is have Revit pull out the information and put it into my formulas that I've already set up, and I've already got this information working for me. And so what that allows me to do is kind of leverage what I've been using, not only in Revit, but also in Excel. So if I have all these pre-calculated formulas, I can tell Revit to pull that information out, tell it to go find the information in a VLOOKUP or an index to these other information that I'm pulling Revit data out, and force it in here. Well, that's great, Dave, but that only gets me in Excel, right? And so I want to go ahead and save that. I'm going to save that to an Excel spreadsheet so that I can leverage this. Helps if you're not in the Excel spreadsheet that you're trying to save. All right, so now that I've saved that, right? Okay, I've got all this data, but why? What good is it to me, right? Well, that's where the Schedule XL comes into play. And what I can now do is, if I've got an Excel spreadsheet out there, I can come in and I'm going to go ahead and open one. And there was one that did not grab over, so bear with me a minute. I'm going to go grab one of my files I forgot to copy over, so you're not having to watch me go through several different folders to grab something here. So I may have some architectural notes, I may have some panel board schedules, right? And right in here, these are the things we're typically going to use. What's our abbreviation legend? What's maybe our general notes we're going to use, so on and so forth. I'm going to grab this abbreviation here, and I'm going to go to my graphical options here for a minute, because what this allows me to do is I can tell Revit how I want to bring in the Excel spreadsheet through Spreadsheet link, or excuse me, Schedule XL. And so I can tell it to preserve the cells. In this case, I want it to break out multiple titles. What's my maximum title height? I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. I could tell it to bring in every single one here, or I can tell it just to bring in the active sheet. Do I want to do it in a drafting view where it's static, or do I want to do it in a schedule view that it changes? Well, you know, I'm going to come in here and do a schedule view for our abbreviations. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and grab all these, do all of them, and go ahead and bring them in. And as it's bringing them in, I can now say, hey, do I want to auto update anytime that someone has changed these elements in Excel? Well, yes, I do. So I'm going to go ahead and come out. And in my schedules, you'll see the SXL for all the schedules that were brought over using Schedule XL. Now, that works great for those general notes, right? Well, I can also pick the wrong one. I did not want to do Spreadsheet link. I want to do Spreadsheet XL. So in Spreadsheet XL, I'm going to go in and open the one we just did. It's on my desktop here for our plumbing fixture calculations. And this is the active one I want. Maybe I want that one. I want urinals. I want the lab. And I want the drinking fountains. And I can say bring them in as a scheduled view. So should we come back in and say, oh, well, that's great and all. I now have these elements in here, right? I want to come over to I'm going to create a sheet. And I'm going to go drag these over here. And I need my drinking fountains. So now I've got that schedule built, right? So the thing is what if the owner comes back and says, well, I really need to change the way we're doing some things. I might need to come in to, say, the third floor, and we're going to turn one of these in from, you know, a guest room into some office space, right? Well, I also need to set the occupancy so that it has that type of read, so that it's going to allow me to do the feet per person, right? And so now what I want to do is now I want to come back to my Schedule XL or Spreadsheet link. I'm going to go open up the settings we saved earlier so that we'll reread this data. And then, yes, I want to go ahead and find that information, and I want you to push that out, right? So now it's made its changes of what it's needed based on the third floor. We're now from 21 to 19. I'm going to go ahead and save that. I want to get out of it in Excel. I'm going to go ahead and save that and override it. And yes, I want to replace it. No, I don't want to open in Excel this time, because now I want to go back to my sheet here. and see, did those update? No, they just did not. So let me go to the Schedule XL, and we need to see. Let's go ahead and tell them to tell it to update these. And then there it is. It's now given me the 19:1 ratio based on the 1 to 500 ratio that I had selected for my criteria. So it gives me some leverage in being able to really utilize Excel and be able to use my building information modeling in Revit. You know, why not take advantage of those? Bear with me for just a minute. Because one of the other things, you know, being able to use either the spreadsheet link or Schedule XL, again, I can pull data out. And so in here, I have a room finish schedule, not a room schedule, that I can pull out and then give to, say, my interior design person or whoever that's working that needs to do my finishes. Well, I can save that. Room finish schedule, yes, and go ahead and open it up in Excel. Now, when you're in Excel, you can come in here and unlock this data. It's because we want to protect things because there's some coding that CTC Tools needs. That's why it's protected. Well, if I unprotect it using all lowercase password, I can now unprotect the sheet. Actually, I think I just protected it. So in here, as long as you do not delete these first 3 rows and these first 2 columns. Now, depending on if it's an instance or type parameter, will be whether your user can go in and change a lot of things or cannot, right? So typically, I might want to say my floor finishes are some VCT, and my guest rooms are carpet. So I might want to come in here and change some sorting and filtering, right? And say, just give me the guest rooms so that I can come in and place carpet on those. And hopefully it did not place it on the rest of mine. Yes, okay, good. So I can come back in here now and go find my toilets, and my toilets are all going to be tile, and come back in here and select all these. And check my filter. Now that I have all those set, I'm going to go ahead and save it. Come back here, I'm going to get out. I'm going to come back into, let's go take a look at our finished schedule. And we will see that nothing is set up in there. And come back into my spreadsheet link. And then I'm going to come back in here and open my room finish schedule, and then tell it to apply those properties back into my Revit project. And what that really allows me to do is utilize that and be able to have somebody outside of Revit do what they need to do in a software that they're very familiar with, and then have it leverage it back into the building information modeling. really gives me time and energy to come in and not waste a lot of picks and clicks and having to come in here and manually come in here and assign this base to be rubber, right? And then I have to come in here and go rubber, and then, you know, really come in here and do that. Why not utilize these Excel type functions and really speed up your process? With that, thank you and have a great ATG day.